Yesterday, we have discussed the last part of the evolution of power system and how HVDC was arrived into the world in the year of 1954. The first HVDC link was established between Sweden mainland and island Gotland of about 70 kilometers, and the converters plays a major role in HVDC transmission system. And the most importantly, HVDC system is very much benefited when we need to connect two systems operating at different frequencies. It is called as a asynchronous interconnection. Most important or advantage of HVDC transmission system. And for bulk power transmission more than 600 kilometers, then you can go for the HVDC transmission system. Some basics you should know. Every power system engineer should know. So it is what is the power system? What is the power system? This we have discussed. This power system mainly consisting of the generation sub power system and transmission and distribution. So each and every subsystem has its own function, and the coordinated control of all this, it is very much necessary for smooth operation of the power system. So that has discussed. And the generating stations, all the generating stations comes under the GENCOs, and transmission systems are comes under the TRANSCO, and these will provide the facilities for the transmission of the power and distribution. These are the DISCOMs which actually link between the system and the consumers. This is all about the power system. What is meant by power system? And now coming to the another one is the important one. What is the objective of any power system? Objective of any power system. The major objective of any power system is to generate the electric power at best or suitable locations and transmit the power to the load centers and distribute the power to the consumers. So this is the major objective of any power system. So now while you are doing all these activities, you should supply with high quality and with reliability. With high quality and reliability. Here you have to maintain the quality of the supply, and moreover you have to maintain the reliability of the supply. Now let us see now what is meant by this quality. So quality, it is also called as a quality of supply. Quality of supply. What is meant by this quality? We can define frequency and voltage. In the power system, the major concern is about this frequency and voltage only. Now, if frequency is maintained as a constant, then we are maintaining the quality of the supply in the aspect of the frequency. If we consider Indian system, our frequency is a 50 Hz. If you maintain the frequency as a 50 Hz, then we can say that we are maintaining the quality of the supply. You have to supply the power at 50 Hz. So when we can maintain the 50 Hz, when generation is equal to the load. And what about the voltage? The voltage also has to be maintained constant or rated value. If we consider the domestic, so we require the 230 volts. So if you maintain the 230 volts, then we are maintaining the quality of the supply. If it is a plus or minus, some value is acceptable, but within that range we should maintain that. Then we can say that the quality of the supply is maintained. But beside along with these two, so interruptions should be as minimum as possible. Interruptions also. If there is a more number of the interruptions, so the reliability we cannot maintain. Reliability is nothing but supplying the power continuously without any interruption. Even though 1 minute of discontinuity in the supply, the manufacturer or industries may lose so much. So the products are also will get less in quantity. Even 1 minute of discontinuity the supply, so it will be a major disadvantage for any industry. That's why we have to maintain the reliability of the supply. If we want to maintain the reliability of the supply, so interruptions should be as minimum as possible. Even if there is any problem occurs, any fault occurs in at any point in entire power system, the backup system or protection system has to be activated immediately, so that so the system will be restored immediately. If we maintain all this, then we can say that the quality of the supply is maintained. So this is the another one. And one more which we should know is the one important characteristic of supply is characteristic of supply. One of the important characteristic is that we should be used as it is a generator. That means the supply has to be used as it is a generator, because we cannot store the electrical energy. You cannot store the electrical energy. If you generate means, so there should be a point where it will be consumed. That means what we have to do, we have to generate the electrical power as per the requirement of the load. Because if the load is 100 megawatt, if you generate 150 megawatt, so that is a useless. You have to generate 100 megawatt. Even there is a excess of 50 megawatt, you cannot store anywhere. According to the load requirement, so you have to generate the power. So the characteristic here it is that it has to be used as it is generated. Why it is like that? So because we have the different types of consumers, different types of consumers we have. What are the different types of the consumers? Maybe domestic, and it may be commercial loads will be there, and it will be some industrial loads will be there, and some agricultural loads will be there, etc. So all these loads are available on the power system. So we don't know the domestic when loads will be switch on and switch off, and commercial loads will be there, industrial and agricultural load. According to the requirement of these loads, you have to generate the electrical power. You have to generate the electrical power. Now these loads will be variable. These loads are variable. So that means if we consider the one day, so in the one day it is there we have 24 hours of the time. In the 24 hours of the time, domestic may not be domestic load may not be available throughout the 24 hours, only certain time. And commercial loads are also not available throughout the 24 hours. Like that, industrial and agricultural loads are also like that. From this, I can say that the load on the power system is variable in nature. Variable in nature. So as it is a variable, the load is a variable, and the generation also may be cope up according to the requirement of the load. So sometimes it may be 10 megawatt on the system, let us suppose, and later load may be decreased to 8 megawatt, and another time it may be increased to 50 megawatt. That means here the load may decrease or increase, but even though load is increase or decrease, the generation should be in such a way that it should generate or according to the increment or decrement of the load. As it is a decrease, the generation has to be adjusted itself, that the generation should be less, and as it is a increased here, so generation should be increased from the available power plants. Variable load nature is there. So we don't know when the customer or consumer will switch on and switch off, and we cannot identify who is switch on and what customer will be switch off at any time. That's why At the generation side, you have to control the load at the generation only. At the load side, we cannot do it. At the load side, you have to control the generation whether according to the increment and the decrement of the load. So this is the variable load nature of the this power system. At strictly, I can say that we should be used if we generate the power. That's it. And we have the different types, different loads are there, and at the different timings they will switch on and switch off. So we can say variable load has the variable nature, and variable nature means it may increase or decrease the load time to time. So according to that, you have to generate the power. Clearly it is. Now, if you want to generate according to the these increase or decrement of the load, you should know the characteristic of a particular load. Characteristic of a particular load. So, what are the characteristics of the loads? So here, if you consider the domestic loads mostly. So at the night time, so it will be switch on mostly. The domestic load will be 6 to 10 p.m. will be more. And commercial, so commercial means the shops. The shops will be comes under this commercial load. So it may switch on at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. And will be shut down at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. And industrial loads 10 to 4:30 p.m. And agriculture sectors during the night time. Like that. So every load has its own characteristic. Now this characteristic will be obtained from the load duration curve. So load duration curve, or we can say load curve. From the load curve you can obtain this load duration curve. So from the load curve, if you draw the load curve for any load, then you can obtain the what are the timings of a particular load, when it will be switch on and when it will be switch off, we will come to know. That is the characteristic of a particular load. So like this will be like this. The load may be increase or decrease somewhere, and like this will be there. If we consider this is the 6 to 10 p.m. For the domestic load, the peak load will be there. At the peak load, generation will be more. So according to that, the generating plant has to be adjusted themselves to supply the requirement of the load. This is all about the some important points with respect to the power system. So it is one is the power system. What is the definition of the power system? What is the main objective of the power system, and what is the quality of the supply? Frequency and voltage has to be maintained at a specified value or rated value. As we are maintaining the 50 Hz, it is a 50 Hz, and somewhere in America, so they are maintaining the 60 Hz. So if they maintain 60 Hz, the quality of the supply is maintained. And one important characteristic is that, so you have to use the electrical energy as we are generating, because we cannot store the electrical energy. So this is so 4 points which I want to share. And along with that, one more topic is a step by step procedure in power system. Step by step procedure in power system. Here in this, it is nothing but in order to meet the requirement of the load, how it happens from the starting point to ending point. We are supplying power to the consumer means there should be a starting point. What is the starting point and what is the ending point? In between, what is happening, that will be discussed here. Starting point, what we have to do is the load forecasting. So load forecasting is the most important in any power system. In any power system, it is the most important. And in this load forecasting, we will have the short-term forecasting and very short-term forecasting and long-term forecasting. These are the load forecasting. So load forecasting is nothing but predicting the load demand. So it is nothing but predicting. So prediction of the load. Prediction of the load in 5 minutes or next 1 minute. So what is the load on the power system, and after 5 minutes what is the load on the system, and after 10 minutes what is the load on the system, and after 1 day, after 1 day or 24 hours what is the load on the system, and after 1 week what is the load on the system, after 1 year what is the load on the system, and after 5 years what is the load on the system. This has to be predicted in advance. This has to be predicted in advance. This is called as a load forecasting. You have to predict the load in advance on the power system. The power system engineer always try to identify the increment and the decrement of the load in the next minute. So there is a site called POSACO. POSACO site is there. In that site, there will be a load generation, load increment and decrement, and generation from the various power plants in minute to minute. So it will be there. If the next 1 minute, if the load is increased, then what we have to do? And next 10 minutes, what is the load? So this has to be known well in advance so that you can generate the power from various centers. Now, after 5 years are also required. So what is the load on the power system after 5 years? Why we need to predict the load in advance? Even after 5 years, you have to identify. Why? Because if the load long-term forecasting reveals that if there is a 100 megawatt load increment will be there on the power system after 5 years, then from now onwards we need to start to establish the power plant, because the power plant takes the time to establish. So approximately depends upon the power plant. So it may be thermal operated power plant, coal-fired power plant, or hydel power plant. So approximately, so it will take the 5 years to establish. After 5 years, the increment in the load is 100 megawatt. In order to meet this 100 megawatt, we have to establish the new power plant. It will take the 5 years. So at the end of the 5 years, we will be in such a position to meet this excess demand. Even if you consider last 10 years, so what is the load in the last 10 years? So 2010, what is the load? You check it once in the Google. And what is the load in the 2015? And what is the load now? Definitely there will be increment in the load. Increment in the load is nothing but industrialization will be increasing. So industrialization increase means the consumption of the power is increases. You have to supply the power according to the requirement of the load. So that's why load forecasting is needed for any power system, and this is the basic. And after the load, after load forecasting is done, next thing what we have to do. Next thing is nothing but, so you have to identify what are the power plants available. What are the power plants available? Suppose assume that in the load forecasting we need to supply next 10 minutes. There is an increment in the load of 10 megawatts. Let us consider 10 megawatts load will be already existing 100 megawatt. Consider, and in the next 10 minutes it will be 110 megawatt. Already existing units are supplying this 100 megawatt, and extra 10 megawatts has to be supplied, has to be generated. So now focus on this 10 megawatt. After load forecasting is done, the next point immediately what we have to do is identifying the available power plants. What are the identification of the power plants? Available power plants. Identification of the available power plants nearer to the load. Nearer to the load. Those has to be identified. Now suppose consider 3 power plants are available. nearby 3 power plants are available to meet the requirement of the 10 megawatt. Power plant means it will again consisting of the units. Again, it will consisting of the units. Suppose this particular power plants, all the 3 power plants will consisting of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Total 10 units are available. Total 10 units are available to meet this 10 megawatt. 10 megawatt excess load. 3 power plants are available, and each power plant, let us consider three. First power plant has the 3 units, and the second power plant has again 3 units, and the third power plant has 4 units. So total 10 units are available to meet the 10 megawatt. Now the next step is that among the available power plants, what are under maintenance? What are under maintenance, that has to be identified. So because if a particular unit is under maintenance, it will not operate. It will not operate. So it will be simply switched off only. So it will not generate any power. So because as per the legal requirements, every power plant has to be maintained. So if you consider any generator or turbine or boiler or superheater or chimney or cooling tower has to be maintained every 1 year or 3 years or 4 years or like that. So if you consider any particular, suppose the generator has to be maintained for every 5 years. So after 5 years, the generator has to be opened and has to be checked everything. So if generator has to be open means that particular unit will be under shutdown condition. It will not generate any power. So the unit under maintenance will not participate, will not generate any power. So those units has to be separated from the available units, because in order to meet the 10 megawatts, 10 are available, but you have to identify among the 10 units what are the units under maintenance. Suppose here first unit is under maintenance, first unit, and the third unit is under maintenance, and the 5th, 7th and 9th, all these units are under maintenance. What are the now available units? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 units are available to meet the 10 megawatts. So after this, immediately the next one is that unit commitment problem. Next one. Here by removing the maintenance units from the available units, the rest will be 2 is there, 4 is there, and 6 is there, 8 and 10. So these are the units available for the supplying the power. So these are the units available. Now it is not economical to run all the units, as we have discussed in previous class. While we are discussing about the syllabus, I have told something about this UC, unit commitment. Even we have 5 units available, it is not economical to run all the units. It is not economical to run all the units. Only few units has to be switched on in order to meet the 10 megawatts, because you have to run the system economically. So that is the most important thing. You have to mention, you have to run the whole system economically. In order to run the system economically, you have to identify the number of the units and what are the capacity or the rating of the units to meet this 10 megawatt. Here the unit commitment problem is that identifying the available units. Now the solution of unit commitment problem gives what are the units has to be switched on or supply the 10 megawatt. Suppose here let us consider in this available units 4, 6 and 10 are economical to run these units. 4, 6 and 10 are available. Here the solution of unit commitment problem gives that operating 4, 6 and 10 are economical. Now the next problem is that economic dispatch. Economic dispatch. Here available our unit commitment problem gives that 4, 6, 10 units are economical to run supply the 10 megawatt. Now the problem with this economic dispatch is that how much each unit has to be loaded. How much each unit has to be loaded. The loading should be in according to the rating of the unit, rating of the particular unit. Some units may be fully loaded, some units may be lightly loaded. So it should not be like that. How each unit has to be loaded economically. Here the economic dispatch problem is that how each unit has to be loaded, or how much each unit has to be generated, how much. So this 10 megawatt, this 10 megawatt may be different combinations. So it may be 3, 3 and 6 combination will be there. 3 and 6, 3 combination is there, or maybe 4 and 2 and 4 combination will be there. Like that, different combinations will be there, and you have to decide according to the capacity of the machine which combination will give the economical result. The solution of economical dispatch problem gives the how much each unit has to be loaded. Suppose among available units, so it gives the result. It gives the result that it is better to generate 4 and 2 and 4. So this is the economical. If you generate like this, the cost will be minimum. Cost will be minimum. It is the step-by-step procedure in any power system. The first one is the load forecasting, and the second one is the identifying the power plants, and third one is the you have to identify what are the units under maintenance, and you have to exclude those units, and one is the unit commitment, and the fifth one is the economic dispatch. So from that you can supply, you can transmit the power to the load centers. It is the step-by-step procedure of operation of power system.